Hello and welcome to the Big Cheese 3 review video under the series I'm doing where I review every major that I attend in OzSmash. So I just got back from the Big Cheese 3 a couple of days ago. As you can probably hear, my voice is still quite a bit raspy, or some would say Jack Gorman-esque. But yeah, I'll be reviewing majors because I think it's important to reflect upon what each event has done well or what could be done better in the future, such that we can ultimately have the best major experience possible going into the future. And in the case of the Big Cheese 3, I'd say their goal wasn't necessarily to have like this outstanding production, like what Phantom or Bam were trying to go for, but more focused on, I guess, the vibes, as people say, whether that was an intentional decision or not. But yeah, just running through the things that I think the team did well. Volunteers, really good group. So much so that people didn't really notice them. And that's like the goal. It's like for the event to run smoothly, without being like, oh, we're lacking X, Y, or Z. There were plenty of setups, and yeah, I didn't really feel like a desire to be like, man, do they really need help packing up or anything like that? It's everything was done, everything was ran smoothly to like a really strong team. And according to Brad, with the team that he did have, like everyone fit a really solid role. I would say, however, there is only one Brad Taicho, and obviously he was on the run, and he was also the one who was calling out pools matches and such. But even with stream runners for side and mainstream, there was multiple people who could come in and fill the role of like making sure everything runs fine. I think the best thing about this major, and it's a point I want to hit home on for future majors, is the amount of space. It made the layout of the tables and general areas to walk around, made this major have the best pools spectating experience I've ever had. It is the fact that like any given person on the setup could be playing, and there can be like a crowd of 20 or 30 people fill in that space just behind them. Which, as I said before, adds to the homey vibe of the major. Having that like small group cheer on for your boy versus this other guy from a different state. Like, it was unbelievable, actually. And speaking of space, it wasn't just space inside the venue, but it was also the space you can go to exit yourself from the venue. I found it was really nice that I could go upstairs and like sit on a table alone watching the stream setup and kind of separate myself from the noise, but also more importantly, I could go outside. Going outside is super underrated at a major to get that breath of fresh air, especially with the playground right there. Like, after drowning in pools, I could just fuck around a bit on the monkey bars, you know what I'm saying? Even the footy field, we didn't get around to it personally, but I saw the Melee boys getting on the Sharon, and I think that's super nice to have of that external experience outside just sitting down and playing Smash Bros. And yeah, there was also a basketball court where people were shooting hoops, and I remember especially on the Friday watching like little kids running around like having their games, and some of them were absolute freaks. More on the stream setup, I feel the side stream having the massive monitor, big ups, makes it way easier for spectating for the crowd around it, as well as the mod pack was actually really good. I actually am so sick of like Smashville music and it just made it so much more interesting, and seeing what like the players picked as well, I'd imagine it'd be quite good for people listening in at home for something different. Only issue might be like some DMCA, but yeah, look, maybe next time we'll get to listen to John Bombo and his scuba divers, but well. And the bar, oh mate, I had too many beers this trip. The fact that I can watch top 8 and have a drink, even on like the Friday bracket, like just having a few bevs here and there, goes a long way. And it being so close as well. And speaking of close, the crowd in the top 8 being right next to the people, completely separate experience from Bam and Phantom, where there was a massive stage and everyone was very far away. If you're on the stage, you can hear it, but it's not there. But for little pools matches, and especially the top 8 qualifiers, when everyone was in that room being so close to the players cheering for them, it made it so much more immersive. Like, I can hear everyone in this small space. We're all watching this match go on. It was probably the best crowd experience I've ever had so far. And it was because of that decision to have everyone in that, I wouldn't even call it a small room. It was just like shit ton of seats, man. And seeing the players right in front of me, it was very good. As for the Friday itself, I also thought it was a fantastic decision to have a like funny bracket on the Friday. It's something for everyone to participate in, and even if they don't choose to participate in it, people can still go to the venue for friendlies, and that made it so especially coming off the pre-locals on Wednesday and Thursday, acts as like a short break for like the competitors who have been there like all week. So I'm going to be contrasting BAM again and Phantom. Having crews happen, they were cool, but more of a spectating thing, not really like an active participant in it. And Phantom having another full bracket with basically everyone who's going to be there at the event playing in that bracket was very full on, in my opinion. So this, I think, was the perfect solution, giving the best of both worlds for people wanting a break, but still allowing them to do something if they choose to. And yeah, like just hanging out. No burnout. Burnout is the big thing. That's what you're going to find at majors, especially when you get to the final day. It's like, fuck, I've been playing Smash for so long, these past couple. I thought the event ran well on time, but it wasn't even, I mean, that's due partially to volunteers, but it's also, I think the timing of the event, like 10 a.m. pools are inevitable. I would like to see some play around, like agreeing with Nick McKenzie with the doubles on Friday to get maybe like half of it done. But also the fact that top 64 started at midday was such a change. Like, it was so good because not only do people get the optionality of sleeping in, especially coming off a large day of doubles yesterday, but getting that like hour of friendlies if you do choose to come in like the venue at like 10 or 11 is like so big for not like sitting down. Like I remember from Ben and Phantom, it's like getting there at like 10 a.m. No, 9:30. You got like 3 games in if you're in a rotation, and then boom, you gotta like play your lifeline if you're like starting in losers. Like, it's so crazy. As for the time the tournament ended, a little bit late, 9:30ish or so, I think it was. But that was absolutely fine in my opinion, because it made the transition of getting food and the after party so much easier. But yeah, I think Majors top 64 starting at midday is definitely the play for future, and I think that was a really good decision. And speaking of the after party, I think it was a fantastic setup. Shoutouts to Taco or Nick. It went off with a bang. Not only did the first venue, I know it was a bit sus that it's like, oh yeah, we have to like it was a bit bad for that bar manager, seeing as like everyone kind of there, we had to move on. Fantastic backup plan for the next venue. What was really good was that between the two venues, it kind of gave optionality for both kind of, styles of an after party, I guess. So not only did I get to talk to people at the first one, which was just like a bar outside section with everyone there, but the second venue was then like an actual party, I guess. Dancing or clubbing with Smashers isn't something I get to do very often, but I found it to be an absolute treat that I did it with this time. And even then, like, the music was like really loud. If you sat in a corner in one of the booths, you could definitely still sit down and talk to someone. But definitely went very smoothly though, Nick. Well done. Moving everyone from one venue to another. And then, of course, offering you a house after that was very, very nice of you. Still shocked that the coppers weren't like, alright everyone, get out, mate. Nah, it was chill. So, best of both worlds. Went very smoothly. There was no last minute, like, oh shit, where do we go type of thing. It was time, place, get everyone there. So, well done. But yeah, that's everything I think that went well for the major. Yeah, good stuff. boys. I think I'm gonna have like a Google Doc with like everything written out in dot points, of the good and bad, so you can like actually read it instead of listen to me say it. As for the bad, not as many points, but still a few things here and there. I will say before I begin the list is that mostly it is not about the decisions made from the TO team, but more just the general constraints of the venue or the circumstance that they were given. So I'd say, obviously, on everyone's mind, the first big thing was that there was no projector. If I'm playing a top 64 match and I finish and I have to travel all the way upstairs to watch the games, or I can look to the TV, but even then, no real seats. It's kind of just to the TV there. Like, it wasn't amazing. Whereas in Fandom and BAM, I'm playing my match, or I'm done, or I'm just generally spectating. The optionality to look at the current stream game is just there, or join the crowd to participate. I think it's something that Brad wanted, to have the projector and a general crowd setup on the main floor, but obviously something that the venue didn't give, which is unfortunate. But I'd definitely say that it isn't necessary to have those things very closely linked. Yeah. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, I think more of a nitpick rather than a like actual disadvantage. But I think there should probably be more going on than the bracket itself. Whether the event aims to be like a spectacle that like BAM and Fandom were, I think one thing that US majors do really well is having like more and more and more things to do with the event rather than like spectate or play, or like play in bracket. So it was good that Redemption ran. There's like a few ideas I have going on in my mind, maybe like some more goofy brackets later on, or like short top 8 ones that you can run, or maybe even like playing around with Squad Strike. I know that's a lot of limitations with the amount of setups as well as scheduling in the TO team. But even like some kind of funny side event to do with like the grass outside, like smashes, like on the b-ball courts and something like that. Like small little things can be organized to make it more of a full-on event for just like more than the competitor. I would look into that, but not really a downside though. But yeah, with the stream setup being separated, it was a little annoying that you had to like kind of commit yourself to wanting to get up to the stream area and coming back down as well. But yeah, that's like a limitation on the venue. Ideally, I'd like to see these two things be combined. Another tiny nitpick, I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but the fact that VODs beforehand were privated, I think is a very dangerous game to be playing. I get like wanting your state to do well and to not have others be like studied or anything like nerd cunts, right? But I think if you want, like, for the betterment of Australia as a whole, like, you need people to be wanting to be playing the best possible set they can at the time, and that includes studying each other. I just think it was yeah, I think that was pretty crazy that happened. But yeah, I don't think it should be happening in the future. And I think the final thing would be the choppy internet, some stream stuff. I heard from all of the spectators back at home that I wouldn't say it was unwatchable at times, but apparently it was like a bit in or out here and there. And yeah, might also just be a limitation on the venue. Like, not every place is going to have like high quality stream internet to like put out that nice 720p footage for like a Twitch stream audience. Oh, and the other final thing would be the organization of commentary. I know Stabby J as well was quite limited with not only time running his like own booth and stuff, but also the like getting when the pool stuff were released and such like that. It felt like it got a bit out of hand for a second. I know I signed up for comms and I personally didn't get to commentate. I know Chef and Quits lost their like day 2 spot, and I know that the side stream stuff was a bit all over the place as well. And it's really hard to organize people, especially through Discord, when people aren't checking their phones all the time. But yeah, it was a bit unfortunate that happened. I still felt like the outcome at the end was like perfectly good though. So do what you want with it. But yeah, moving on from like, that's my critique of sorts. Ultimately, on a personal note, this is probably my favorite major I'd been to. However, I will say that the reason for that is the vibes, I guess, were mostly made up from the people itself rather than like the direct tension of the event. But it's like, I mean, I'm pretty sure most people would say it's probably their favorite major they have been to as well. So good job to Brad and the team. Like, yeah, this is amazing, especially since it's Brad's first major. Like, what do you want, dude? Like, what else do you really want? As for the event itself, there's a few things I wanted to like comment in terms of runs and storylines. Ultimately, very high quality matches and general hypeness. Probably the most I've gotten out of any major so far. Partially because top 8, very diverse. Few of the heavy hitters from Victoria are missing, but I would say Victoria kind of dominated in a different way of the mid-level coming through, which was really cool. We had like Slimboy, Ignis, Rizel, Rambo / Naru, IB winners, Naru winners, We Toxic Few, and Nerpda. Nerpda's not even on the 40. And like these guys all made it out, which is like, wow. Good stuff to them. I would say Queensland low-key shat the bed. Jaws, Dags, and DFS all being like pretty high on the PR. Not making it out isn't a good look. But Jackson making top 8. Like 4th, I think it was. And Tracker Base. What do you want? I think this is the first time I've seen someone mid-level, like out of completely nowhere, come in with like a Steve or a Kazia and make it out winners. So well done to you, and I'm pretty sure Prem also made it out in winners, I believe. WA also doing quite well, like Jaeger making quite the run ever with the upsets. But I'll quickly get into the runs that I thought were notable. The Newt run, the Cinderella story of sorts. I think Ernest said it really well in his tweet longer. He had the bracket luck, but then to not trick it once you realize you have it is even more impressive, because that's what luck is at the end of the day. It's not only having the opportunity, but seizing the occasion. So he had Whistle, who, by the way, is super underseeded. That guy is still a freak. Kutz, the weapon, who was a monster this weekend. Like, holy fuck. That's not an easy opponent as well, beating Sav before getting to Newt. Cardo Roy, WAPR, Rosa. Newt's probably never played a Rosa in his life. Also a freak. Piccolo Skooks, who was probably playing some of the best ultimate, like, pick Ignis, barring from some of the matches I saw. I'm like, damn, Newt's gonna lose this one. And finally, Moonlight, who Anthony has not been able to beat until recently. And then clutching it out. Belmont's is so scary to run into bracket as well, because it's such like a differing kind of game you have to play, especially off the Moonlight run she was on. Speaking of, Moonlight in pools beat DFS, and then main bracket beat and Bro won. She literally took out like top representatives of each state, which is incredible for being like lower PR of SA. Like, that is a pretty fucking big statement to make. It's like, yeah, I would shit on everyone, not even just in my state, like actually everywhere. Another Cinderella run, Chips run, taking out Seb, Flo, and Taicho. Fuck, dude. What a resume, actually. Seb and Taicho, arguably Oz PR wins, and then Flo is pretty damn close to it. So, for the top 8 as well, insanely well deserved. Another run that was kind of under the radar for a 9th place. Oh, actually, not at all. But similar to Moonlight, John Bombo beating Fez, Seb, and Bro 1, taking out top reps from each state. Very, very solid Toon Link. Proven to be extremely fundamental coming from Smash 4. Like, not even to the confines of SA. I think SA did a really good job this weekend of proving like their top level isn't just confined to their own state. Then we had this, no one saw this one run coming, but Ignis, or Piccolo Skooks, who I don't even know where he was seated, but he beat in pools Jack Gorman, and then Slim Boy in losers, Kool-Aid DQ, so already like the past stopper has been eliminated, Oscar, and then Easy Cole for 13th. A lot of like mid-level Vic DQ team kill stuff going on, and then Oscar win, but yeesh, Piccolo Skooks maybe still got it. And then yeah, obviously like Kutz, absolute monster. Probably like I think the second or third highest performing WA rep. Or maybe not, I'm talking out my ass. But Zavwin is fucking insane. Like, just snagging that is like such a statement. It's like, what do you want? It's like, I wouldn't even say it's matchup, but it's like, fuck man. Not many people can get a Zavwin like that. And then Slash, and then obviously taking Newt for a run for his money for like a very, very solid 25th placing. Keeping the WA dream alive. They aren't all bad. Yeah, that's right. Another silent run, Naz, making it at winners. Although he went 0-2 on the day, this guy beat Goon, who was like low-end SAPR to HM or something, and then Jason. So, what do you want? You know, Terry Kazia, it's the way, baby. And then the other mention I wanted to give was fried rice. I'm not sure if this is a shared sentiment across everyone, but I feel like people aren't giving this guy the full credit he probably deserves. Absolute freak, beating Shrix. And this guy is like, obviously, like, if he lived in Vic, he'd be top 3, is the statement I'd probably make. Another Duradub as well. And like, yeah, like this guy is way higher in contention in OzPR than people would think. Like 7th or 8th, arguably. Just under, like, just behind Ghost, I would say. And Jackson. But yeah. So there's the runs I wanted to pick out. There's a few sets I watched in the crowd, personally, that I thought were really good. IB Dags. IB just showing he's an absolute freak. Interstate. Probably some of the cleanest shit gameplay I've ever seen. I watched Naz Concord, or Jason. I was in absolute horror, because obviously I was cheering for Jason. But Jason threw the banana. Like, they were both at like 100 or something. Jason threw the banana to get the kill confirmed. And then as the banana hit, then Naz did the like power drive with Kazia to armor through the banana and then kill Jason with it. Easy call Nagima, extremely tight. I'm really proud of Isaiah to sticking to a game plan and following through on it. And obviously, like, Nagima with the box is absolutely terrifying. So really happy for Isaiah. And then also, Kutz over Zav, fuck them. I just like couldn't believe it. He was playing like such a freak. Every single hit that happened, it's like, wow, I cannot believe this is happening. And he's taking so much and Zav's constantly at disadvantage. Upset factor 5, by the way. So, Pram and Coleman was an insane watch. I'm super impressed by Coleman's gameplay. I think he is the future in Australia. Not only for knowing Warrior, but having that patience that Bradley seems to lack just quietly. And then Pram managing to clutch it out. I did think Coleman was going to get it in the end, since he was a full stock down, but had that waft coming back. But yeah, Pram was also really impressive to watch. Just like really another solid Palutena that has risen like really quickly. No over Jaws. I mean, the box. Like, what do you want? Like, I saw that happened in real time. Also couldn't believe it. And really happy for Nopna. I think he was a bit down in the dumps with, like, man, I've put in all this effort and it's not showing. But, you know, there's variance. Obviously, it's going to show here and there. And I'm happy he stuck out the win to make it out of pools. With the Jaws. Very impressive, actually. Moonlight Bro 1. Couldn't believe it as well. Player of Bro 1's caliber to be like 6F tilted in a row and let's trapped at ledge for the whole game. It's like, wow, that is impressive from Moonlight. I couldn't believe it. Radio Fez, that was super last hit. Game 5, Radio just decides to become the best player. Um, when it gets to like a clutch situation, and over the Phoebe Falco, just somehow like pulled it back when he could have died like so many times. So Floyd Luma, another insane close one. I know Tommy's not too happy about that, but clutch god now from his former self flow, and then obviously the top 8 qualified Chip Taicho. We were all there. Like, what can I say? And then I don't know, just the art of DDD. I don't know how he's able to do it. That matchup looks really fucking hard, but you can't kill the penguin, I guess. So really happy for the Chip for that one. And the most terrifying thing I ever saw this weekend was Bombo Seb of an upset factor of 5. Fuck you, John Bombo. Absolute cunt. I'll quickly run through the notables I saw. Jamie over Seb God. Never have I wanted someone to back throw, back air someone 3 times. But Jamie was able to clutch up in that unwinnable matchup. Charizard, what do you want? Fez Nagy, extremely tight. There was a big crowd for that one. Newt Coleman, thought Coleman was able to do it, but not. Jar Olag, funniest Luigi duo I've ever seen. We Toxic Few Kuts, 3-2. Like, what do you want? Also an impossible matchup. Flo Ever 3-2, Heaven Ever 3-2. Ever was so close to just beating everyone this weekend, but barely didn't. Only got the Taicho upset, but still insane. Massive crowd. Big ups for WA for sticking behind her like this whole weekend. It was absolutely insane. Taicho We Toxic Few, I was on so much copium that Thomas was able to pull out the like 0 to death on that last game, but just couldn't. But very funny that he was able to take it this close. He was able to swag. And then finally, my favorite set of the entire weekend was Pro 1 Ernest, who, oh man, it was a slobber knocker, that one. I don't think anyone has the VODs on this if Ernest uploads the iPad recording, but like, that was probably the closest, most match skilled set I've ever seen, and was insanely tight to the very end. So yeah, that was good. But finally, I'll run through the bits of the weekend. Like my favorite bits. I was going to do this for Phantom, but yeah, look, what do you want? So I thought it was very funny about this crowd interaction that we had. Airplanes in the night sky with the shooting stars. Dude, wanting a wish. Oh my god, it was so funny. Even just the interaction with like Kutz and like Sitchy and Jack Gorman betraying Victoria to side bet. So disgusting. Probably the funniest one was having fucking, oh yeah, during Shriek's Ghost, just started singing Happy Birthday randomly because we thought Shrix was gonna win, but oh well. Another thing that was hilarious was everyone talking to the bartender and Jack Gorman thinking he was getting in, but he was like, so many people were like, oh yeah, like having a quick chat with her, huh? And then every single time he forgot her name and said a completely wrong one. I think her name was Jess in the end, but very funny to like watch someone talk to her and then someone else would be like, wait, what you doing there, mate? Like, you know, I'm supposed to be talking to her. Like, what's going on? The 5-minute 30 rule, I think it was on the Friday night or the Thursday night when we're at the bar. Kutz has this bit from WA that if he sees like a beer, like unattended or something like that, he will set a timer for 5 minutes and 30. And if the timer ends, he just takes it. Just free real estate. And so someone had bought a drink at the bar and it was sitting there, and obviously Kutz gets the 5-minute 30 timer on. We've got a whole crowd like going at it to like watch this masterclass of stealing a beer in action. And it gets so close, like to the last 30 seconds, and then Kutz does the you know, like he's at the bar, like he's ready to snag it, and then literally 10 seconds before the timer goes off, Ernest Lamb appears from the toilets. He's like, thanks man, and grabs his beer and goes. It was the most insane, like clutch, like I cannot believe this has occurred right before the timer was up. So yeah, and Marcelo bought him a drink, and like he was playing pool, taking a shit just in time for that beer. So definitely a lot of 5-minute timers going on this weekend. Another thing was the fucking small pizza for $16 from Woodville Pizza. Biggest scam ever. Kritz was like so sad when he got the pizza. It's like, man, this is like nothing for $16. And then I got it, I was displeased and just not a good time. But the funniest part was realizing that that pizza place was the initial COVID hotspot for South Australia. So dog shit place, don't go back. Another WA meme was Finding Temper. Just like went off for a waltz in the night with a dead phone, and Jar and everyone were like looking for this person, could not find him, decided to give up, gonna file a police report in the morning, and then somehow through the dead of night, no phone from the city, Owen was able to find his way back to the Airbnb, which was insane. And yeah, apparently by the end of the trip, they had like 8 scooters parked out front their Airbnb. So, what do you want? There was a luggage situation at the airport where obviously Jetstar was 7 kilos, bit funny. So I think it was like me and Jason and Slimboy were like weighing up our stuff before we go through security. And then, oh, Phoebe's there. Oh, sick. How good. She's got like this massive backpack with like 2 bags in it. And I'm like, oh, you got some checked luggage? And she's like, nah. And she puts her thing on, and it's like actually 13 kilos. I'm like, you're finished then. And then it gets even better because when we are outside, like we're about to board our flight, and there's a bit of a line, but like we're not boarding. So I'm like, that's a bit weird. So we join the line, we get to the front, and we realize Jetstar, the cunts, they are checking every single person's luggage before you can go on the flight. Which means if you are above 7 kilos, you are fucked. And so we retreat back to like the Queenslanders and Phoebe, and we're like, yeah, you gotta buy some check luggage. It was so crazy. And Slimboy, Slime Master, the gambling fiend, was like, oh, I didn't even check. And so he went up there. It was 10 kilos. Well, he was wearing like 10 different shirts. And he's like, well, I'm just fucked. And then the girl on the flight attendant is like, let me check your flight. Blah, 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 blah. And then comes to realize, oh yeah, you actually have an upgraded flight for 14 kilos instead of 7. Slim didn't pay for an upgraded flight. So it's either he accidentally did without realizing, or she was just let him off the hook, you know. So what do you want? In the dance floor, we Toxic Few being an absolute menace. I was like dancing with Jason, and Thomas didn't even know any of the lyrics. He'd just be like dancing up and down going, yes, yes, yes. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And he's like, come on guys, is that all you got? And I'm like, yes. My clubbing days are behind me. I'm 21. Like, holy shit. And another funny thing from the after party was Jai just stealing like wine bottles. And then he'd also steal like their washing thing for the dishes. And he'd just keep doing it. And then the person was washing dishes. And Jai's like, what are you washing it with? And they're just like, water. Like without the soap that Jai had stolen. And so this bit had gone on. Jai gets caught. Charisma checks. Somehow gets a half-price drink out of it. And then Stitchy, watching this bit happen, does the same thing. First try, gets caught, and then gets kicked out. So what do you want? And then finally, the best bit of all was John Bombo being John Bombo. Just in the venue, or even just during top 8, just seeing this guy, and he just randomly go, yeah! Like, why? It's so fucking funny. Yeah. What a goose. I love John Bombo. But yeah, that's all the bits. That's my recap on the bracket, and that is my major review. So shout out for Chef and Kutz, helping me brainstorm, and shout out to Brad for running the tournament. Shout out to all the Vic fellas. Ultimately, really great time. Probably my favorite major I've been to so far. So I'm immensely happy about it all. But yeah, that's been my piece, and I'll see you guys for Pissmas. So make sure to hit the like and subscribe button or whatever, and yeah.